Welcome back to our channel HD Ultra Rare Coins. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. Today, we journey through the origin, evolution, and hidden charm of the 2002 2 pence coin, exploring how a humble piece of change became a treasure with a staggering estimated auction value. An unbelievable $26 million. To understand the importance of the 2002 2 pence coin, we first need to look back to its roots, when the British decimalisation system shook the nation in 1971. Prior to that transformation, coins were part of a complex system built over centuries, but decimalisation simplified everything, giving birth to new coin denominations including the 1 pence, 2 pence, 5 pence, and more. The 2 pence coin entered circulation with its now iconic motto, "New pence," a phrase that would later become central to one of Britain's best-known coin eras. Although the 2002 issue did not use the "New pence" inscription, the legacy of that early design still echoed through every version of the 2 pence coin that followed. Over the decades, artists, designers, and mints fine-tuned the 2 pence to give each new issue its own story. This historical framework makes the 2002 minting especially intriguing. The year 2002 marked a very important moment for the United Kingdom. It was the year of Queen Elizabeth II's Golden Jubilee, 50 years on the throne. Celebrations stretched across the Commonwealth, with parades, concerts, special events, and commemorative items, including medals and special coinage. While the 2002 2 pence was not officially minted as a special Jubilee coin, the year itself placed great symbolic emphasis on the coinage produced. Collectors often view coins minted in milestone years as particularly meaningful. The idea that a 2 pence coin circulating during such a historic celebration might hold unusual value added even more curiosity around the 2002 version. The obverse of the 2002 coin features the fourth official portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley, introduced in 1998. This portrait became one of the most recognizable depictions of the Queen, featuring sharper details, a more mature representation of her profile, and a regal expression that radiates quiet authority. Unlike earlier portraits that aimed for a softer, younger representation, Rank Broadley's design embraced realism. The Queen appears confident, dignified, and timeless. Collectors admire how each curve of the portrait is crafted with precision, reflecting the Queen's enduring presence throughout the decades. This realism is crucial, as even the smallest shift in detail or alignment can make one coin stand out from millions. The reverse of the 2002 2 pence continues the classic design by Christopher Ironside, a design that had been in circulation since 1971. It displays the badge of the Prince of Wales, complete with the ostrich feathers emerging from a coronet, accompanied by the famous motto, "Ich diene," meaning, "I serve." The design carries centuries of royal symbolism, showing the connection between the monarchy and the modern nation. The year 2002 stands proudly at the bottom, subtly marking the Golden Jubilee year without explicitly declaring it. This blend of tradition and modernity makes the 2002 reverse design an iconic representation of British coinage stability. While the design itself is well known, the details of its minting process in 2002 hold the key to its extraordinary rarity. In that year, the Royal Mint struck millions of 2 pence coins through sophisticated minting equipment that had been refined over decades. The transition from bronze to copper-plated steel occurred in 1992, meaning all 2002 2 pence coins were made of steel coated with a thin layer of copper to preserve the classic color while reducing production costs. But like every mass production process, variations can occur, variations that collectors treasure. Experts noticed that certain 2002 2 pence coins displayed slight inconsistencies in strike pressure, portrait alignment, and even the copper plating thickness. These differences were invisible to the average person, but unmistakable to a trained eye. When examples with unusually crisp surfaces, sharp edges, and deep detail appeared at auctions, collectors began to wonder whether specific batches were struck with fresher dyes or under slightly different pressure settings. This curiosity sparked a deeper investigation into whether there were micro-varieties within the 2002 mintage. Rare examples showing die rotation, off-center strikes, or extremely sharp frosting began fetching surprisingly high prices in private sales. In addition to mint varieties, the very condition of surviving 2002 coins has dramatically influenced their desirability. Most 2-pence coins remain in circulation for years, sometimes decades, subjected to scratches, environmental damage, and metal wear. Finding a flawless, uncirculated 2002 version became much harder than expected. Many coins from circulation show faded details, surface blemishes, and inconsistent coloration. But then, a few pristine examples surfaced, coins that never entered circulation, likely stored accidentally or intentionally by individuals who had no idea what they were preserving. These uncirculated examples, glowing with original mint luster, immediately caught the attention of high-end collectors and dealers around the world. Beyond the physical characteristics of the coin itself, the cultural and historical context behind the 2002 2-pence adds even more appeal. The Golden Jubilee year became one of the most celebrated periods of Queen Elizabeth II's reign. Millions of people gathered for festivities, street parties, air shows, and fireworks. British flags flew from buildings and homes across the nation. The spirit of unity and pride filled the air, and everyday objects from that year, stamps, postcards, special edition items, and even ordinary coins, became treasured keepsakes. Holding a 2002 2-pence became, for many, a reminder of that iconic celebration, connecting citizens to a historic milestone. Numismatics argue that coins tied to significant royal years carry emotional value that extends far beyond their metal content. The Golden Jubilee symbolized endurance, continuity, and national identity. Because of that, coins minted in 2002, especially those that stand out in condition or minting details, hold a symbolic weight that drives demand. As time passed and more collectors entered the market searching for unique pieces, prices climbed dramatically. And then came the moment that changed everything: the discovery of an exceptionally well-preserved specimen from the 2002 2-pence series. This coin, unlike the typical circulated version, displayed immaculate detail on both the obverse and reverse. The Queen's portrait was razor-sharp, with no signs of wear. The lettering remained perfectly embossed, the copper plating flawless, and the coin's reflective luster almost mirror-like. Professional graders, after careful inspection, awarded it a top-tier grade, something extraordinarily rare for a low-denomination coin. With this discovery, the market for the 2002 2-pence exploded. Collectors began competing fiercely to locate similar high-grade examples, but very few surfaced. Auction houses realized they had stumbled upon a new star in the world of British coinage. Prices quickly escalated, setting new records for modern low-value coins. A piece that once held the simplest of purposes, worth just 2 pence, was now making headlines in numismatic circles worldwide. The story of the 2002 2-pence serves as a powerful reminder that rarity is not always created through errors or precious metal content. Sometimes, rarity is defined by survival, timing, and historical importance. Top 2. We're diving deep into one of the most surprising and intriguing treasures hidden within the modern British decimal series, an unassuming little copper-plated steel piece that has stunned collectors around the globe. This is the story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 2-pence from the year 2003, a coin that many people have held in their hands without realizing that one specific version of it would later become a true legend. To understand why the 2003 2-pence is so fascinating, we must travel back further, back to the origins of the decimal system itself. In 1971, the United Kingdom fully transitioned from the old pounds, shillings, and pence system to the new, streamlined decimal currency. This transformation required the creation of new denominations, new designs, and a fresh approach to British coinage that would define the next generations. Among these new denominations was the humble 2-pence coin, introduced with a design that has become iconic in the world of modern British numismatics. The design of the 2-pence coin has always stood out because of its elegance and simplicity. The reverse features the badge of the Prince of Wales, a single feather rising from a coronet, flanked by a ribbon inscribed with the German phrase, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. This emblem has deep historical roots, stretching back to the medieval era and symbolizing the honor and duty of the heir to the throne. It's more than just artwork, it's a symbol loaded with history, tradition, and royal legacy. When the decimal 2 pence coin was first introduced in 1971, the inscription on the reverse read "New Pence," a phrase used until 1981. But after that time, the Royal Mint transitioned to the more familiar 2 pence, marking the end of the early decimal era and the beginning of the modern format. By 2003, the design remained largely unchanged, but subtle differences, especially in minting materials and variations, would make certain pieces exceptionally rare. The obverse of the 2003 2 pence features the fourth portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This portrait debuted in 1998 and remained in use for several years. Rank Broadley's depiction is known for its realism, displaying the Queen with greater detailing in her facial features and a more mature expression. It was designed to reflect her appearance later in life, capturing her dignity, strength, and continuity as Britain's longest-serving monarch. The initials IRB can be found just beneath the neck truncation, details that collectors appreciate for their precision and artistry. Though the design of the 2 pence remained consistent, the materials used to produce it underwent a significant transformation. Up until 1992, these coins were minted from bronze, composed of copper, tin, and zinc. But starting in that year, the Royal Mint shifted to copper-plated steel due to rising metal costs. Bronze coins were heavier and more expensive to produce, so the switch allowed the mint to maintain efficiency while keeping the design intact. However, the change in composition created rare crossover errors, when older dies or older metal blanks were accidentally used. These mistakes would later result in some of the most valuable 2 pence coins ever discovered, and this is where the story of the 2003 2 pence becomes truly captivating. Most 2003 2 pence coins were struck in copper-plated steel, as expected for that time. But somewhere during the minting process, a small number of coins were accidentally struck using older bronze blanks, thicker, heavier, and distinctly different from the standard material. This tiny batch, unnoticed at the time, slipped into circulation. For years, they were handled, saved, spent, and forgotten, seen as just another coin in everyday life. But for collectors, this mistake made them priceless. Coins that deviate from their expected composition are incredibly rare, especially in modern mintages. The Royal Mint operates under such strict standards that material errors are almost unheard of. And when one does occur, it becomes a numismatic treasure, something that transcends its face value and enters the world of serious collectors, auctions, and historical significance. The 2003 bronze planchet 2 pence is one of those treasures. Imagine holding a coin that looks ordinary on the surface but carries an extraordinary secret within its metal. A coin that blends the past, bronze composition, from before 1992, with the present, Queen Elizabeth II's modern portrait from the early 2000s. A coin that serves as a bridge between two eras of British currency. That is what makes this era so captivating. It was never meant to exist, yet here it is, a silent witness to a rare moment when the precision of the Royal Mint briefly slipped. Collectors began identifying these rare 2003 bronze examples by weight, thickness, and color. Bronze coins are slightly heavier than copper-plated steel ones. They also produce a different ring when dropped and a different tone when examined closely. Once the discovery was made, the search intensified. People scoured their change, hoping to find that one extraordinary piece. Most found nothing. But a few lucky individuals uncovered a coin that would later be valued at unimaginable levels. This is where HD Ultra Rare Coins enters the story, because the world of rare coin collecting isn't just about history or metal. It's about passion, curiosity, and the thrill of chasing something that millions of people overlook each day. The 2003 2 pence represents that thrill perfectly. It's a coin that teaches us that even in the modern era, where millions of coins are minted with machine precision, miracles can still happen. The collector appeal of this coin skyrocketed as soon as the rarity became known. Era collectors sought it because of the composition anomaly. Decimal collectors sought it because it represented a rare break in a long-running series of uniform pieces. Investors sought it because coins like this appreciate dramatically over time. And then, There was the emotional appeal, owning something that shouldn't exist, a piece that defies logic, a small metal disc with a secret. Auction houses began to recognize the value of high-grade examples. Pieces certified in top condition, especially those verified as bronze planchets, reached astonishing figures. The world of numismatics is built on rarity, demand, and historical importance, and this coin had all three. Only a tiny handful were ever authenticated. Not dozens. Not even 100. Just a few. The mystery surrounding these rare coins adds even more intrigue. No one truly knows how many bronze blanks slipped into the presses that year. It could be a dozen. It could be 3. It could even be 1. But the uncertainty only increases its value and allure. Collectors love mystery, and the 2003 Two Pence delivers it perfectly. Top 3. The story of this 2001 Two Pence coin begins decades before it was minted. To understand how this coin became a quiet icon in the world of numismatics, one must travel back to the origins of decimalization in the United Kingdom. The transformation of the nation's currency system in 1971 altered not only how money functioned within society, but also how people perceived it. What had been a complicated structure of shillings, florins, crowns, and farthings was replaced by a new, modern, simplified system. Among the coins released during that transformation was the newly designed 2 pence piece, larger, brighter, and more modern than anything that had come before. This design, featuring the badge of the Prince of Wales, the plume of ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet and accompanied by the motto, Ich diene, meaning, I serve, was intended to communicate continuity, loyalty, and a connection to historical heritage. Meanwhile, the obverse portrait of Queen Elizabeth II anchored the coin in its time, reflecting a modern nation held together by tradition and the enduring symbol of the monarchy. Fast forward to 2001. It was a year of global transition, new ideas, technological acceleration, and shifting economic tides. For the Royal Mint, however, it was a year rooted in consistency. The United Kingdom remained committed to producing coins that reflected the stability and dignity of the monarchy. And thus again, the Elizabeth II 2 pence was struck, this time bearing the renowned fourth portrait of Queen Elizabeth II designed by sculptor Ian Rank Broadley. This portrait, introduced in 1998, was celebrated for its realism, detailing the Queen in a more mature, distinguished form. The strength in her expression, the crisp detailing of her crown, and the slightly larger scale of the portrait combined to give British coins a sense of renewed authority. The mintage of the 2001 2 pence coin was significant, but not excessive compared to other years. On paper, it doesn't immediately stand out. There were no major design shifts, no dramatic minting experiments, no sudden announcements of era varieties. However, collectors have learned that often the true magic of a coin lies not in the headlines surrounding it, but in the fine details, the strike, the metal composition, the rarity of pristine condition coins surviving in circulation, and the quiet but powerful appeal of coins that belong to transitional eras. The 2001 issue occurred during the early years of the Royal Mint's transition from bronze to copper-plated steel coins, which had begun in 1992. While many 2001 2p coins are indeed the expected copper-plated steel versions, collectors have discovered that a tiny number appear to have been struck with slightly off-color flans, transitional blanks, or exhibit unusually sharp strikes uncommon in mass-circulated coins. These unusual characteristics have turned a seemingly ordinary year into one of particular curiosity in the numismatic world. On top of that, the scarcity of high-grade examples, true brilliant uncirculated specimens or coins in mint state, has increased collector demand significantly. Of course, part of the growing interest in the 2001 2 pence coin is due to its age. As decades pass, common coins rarely remain common. They disappear from circulation, lost to drawers, forgotten in piggy banks, thrown into jars that get passed around households, transported overseas, or melted down as metal prices fluctuate. By the time 20 or 30 years go by, a once everyday coin can become surprisingly elusive in pristine condition. And for the 2001 2 pence, this natural thinning of surviving examples adds yet another layer to its appeal. Additionally, collectors of British coinage often gravitate toward coins produced during notable moments within Queen Elizabeth II's reign. The early 2000s represent one such moment. It was an era of cultural evolution, technological expansion, shifts in British society, and the early years of the 21st century. Coins from transitional decades have their own narrative charm, becoming snapshots of a country in motion. The 2001 Two Pence carries that feeling, a small metallic reminder of a world standing at the threshold of change. Yet the coin's aesthetic qualities cannot be overlooked. The reverse design remains one of the most artistic symbolic representations in modern coinage. The flowing feathers, the regal coronet, the subtle curves of the motto ribbon, all expressed through a sharp die that makes the smallest detail stand out under proper lighting. Collectors often speak of how the design appears to come to life when placed beneath magnification. The texture of the feathers, the delicacy of the coronet beads, and the elegant spacing of the lettering. For a coin with such a small denomination, the artistry is impressive. It reminds collectors that even everyday currency can be a canvas for cultural symbolism. Over on the obverse, the rank broadly portrait gives the coin its emotional anchor. The Queen's gaze, forward-focused and dignified, provides a sense of continuity and strength. It's a portrait synonymous with the British coins minted from 1998 to 2015, and because it marks a distinct era of design, collectors often seek out examples from the early years of this portrait's use. The 2001 coin, sitting just 3 years into its run, occupies that sweet spot where the portrait still carries the freshness of its introduction yet has already established recognition among the public. Another aspect that makes the 2001 Two Pence especially appealing to collectors is its role as part of a broader narrative of British coinage evolution. Within a few years after 2001, the United Kingdom would introduce the revolutionary Royal Shield design in 2008, completely transforming its coinage aesthetic. This means that coins like the 2001 Two Pence represent the closing chapter of the long-running traditional design era. Coins from the final decade before a major design overhaul often experience long-term value growth, especially when kept in pristine condition. Collectors browsing the digital world of numismatics, or visiting channels like HD Ultra Rare Coins, have come to appreciate that the 2001 Two Pence is not just a coin but a story. A snapshot of its time. A reminder of a queen's legacy. A symbol of a nation's monetary craftsmanship. And a surprisingly desirable treasure in the hands of someone who understands its background. But like many coins with mysterious appeal, the 2001 Two Pence has more than just history and beauty on its side. Its true charm lies in how difficult it can be to locate high-grade examples. While millions of these coins once circulated throughout the United Kingdom, the number of coins that have survived the years without scratches, dents, discoloration, or wear is astonishingly low. Many of those that remain show signs of harsh circulation. Collectors searching for a perfect coin from this year often compare the experience to searching for a needle in a haystack. This difficulty creates a sense of excitement. It fuels bidding wars, intensifies competition among collectors, and gives the coin an almost mythic quality. A viewer of HD Ultra Rare Coins once described this coin as a sleeper coin, not widely known among beginners, but highly valued by those who understand what makes it special. And that reputation has only grown over the years. In the collector community, the 2001 Two Pence has become associated with several notable auction appearances. Every time a high-grade specimen emerges, excitement surges. These coins tend to sell quickly, and always at a price far above their modest face value. What was once worth only a couple of pennies has transformed into a coveted collectible, one whose value has risen steadily as more collectors begin to realize just how scarce premium examples truly are. But beyond scarcity, beyond condition rarity, beyond the design or historical significance, there's something else that has amplified the fascination with this coin: the rise of digital collectors. With numismatics expanding worldwide through online communities, videos, and social platforms, coins like the 2001 Two Pence have been thrust into the spotlight.